What's up and welcome back to the Metalhead Car Show. There's a lot of companies out there that make ultra rare cars. Bugatti, Pagani, Koenigsegg, and Lamborghini. So in the realm of ultra rarities, nobody really thinks Toyota. But little do some people know, Toyota has a handful of ultra rare cars they've made throughout the years. So let's get right into it, talking about some of the rarest Toyotas ever made. Starting with the MR2 TTE Spider.
You cannot really race on the Northern Loop with a wimpy 140 horsepower.
The MR2 TTE was Toyota's attempt of making an MR2 turbo for the MRS platform. With 181 horsepower and really lightweight, this thing could be a lot of fun. Coming with a turbocharger, a factory wide body, and a bit more of an aggressive stance, this thing would have been a real threat towards some of its competition. But with only 300 known to exist, you're more likely to come across a Ferrari F50 than you are one of these TTEs. Next up, the Toyota Mega Cruiser. The Toyota Mega Cruiser is essentially Japan's answer to the Hummer H1, this multi-purpose, massive vehicle with huge military potential. Unlike the Hummer H1, instead of using a really high torque V8, it used a really big turbo diesel 4-cylinder that was being used in buses at that point in Japan. The Mega Cruiser was made to be ambulances, fire trucks, military vehicles, but Toyota made 181 versions for the general public to actually go buy. Up next, the Corolla Sprinter Convertible. Now around that time, there were things like the RX-7 convertible and the 240SX convertible, but I think these things just look so much better than those two. So when Toyota sold these, they were sold at a premium. They were double the price of coupe. So with that premium price, production numbers are known to be very low, but really not specified, so it's really hard to tell exactly how many of these things ever existed. So due to production numbers aren't really specified, but we know they're super rare, I'm dumping it in third place, which in my mind is a pretty appropriate spot for it. In second place, the Toyota GT1. So back in the 90s, a lot of car companies were making homologation cars, and this was so they could actually go race these cars, but a lot of these cars were super compromised and really just barely street legal race cars. Now the changes Toyota made to make the GT1 roadworthy were so minimal. The wing's a little bit smaller, the gas tank's a slightly different size, and there's about that much more creature comforts put into the interior than the race car had. The 600 horsepower V12 was fitted with catalytic converters, and that's pretty much where they stopped there. Now everything on this list is rare. Even at 180 cars, if you really want one, you can go find one. As for the Mega Cruiser, 180 cars, Doug DeMuro's page, Cars and Bids, actually recently had one. Now the closest thing you'll ever get to having one is by buying one on Gran Turismo 2, because that is the only way. Now as we approach the last car on this list, you may be thinking, what's rarer than 2? How about 1? Last car on this list, the Toyota MC8.
Thank you.
So, what is this thing? This thing is essentially a wide-body MR2 with a twin-turbo Lexus 4-liter V8 making 600 horsepower. Now with its racing at the time, it raced alongside Toyota's super race car at that point, but it couldn't really keep up with the likes of McLaren, Porsche, and Ferrari at that moment. Now, much like the GT1, the MC8 was a homologation car to get a race version of the MR2 racing under the name MC8R. It's been said that this thing is much more streetable than the GT1, but it has been said this thing is an intense ride compared to some of its competitors at that time. This thing is super cool and super wacky. What I love about it most is it actually gets driven. I'm sure there's only a handful of cars that have a production run of less than 3 that actually get driven on the road. Once again, one was made, and it's owned by a guy on Instagram who his page is called MC8 Channel. So if you want to know more about this thing, go check that page out. So that's what I got for the rarest Toyotas in existence. If there's a car I've missed, let me know. If there's a manufacturer you'd like to see me do a deep dive into, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you've enjoyed what you've seen. You can find me on Instagram and occasionally TikTok, and I'll see you later.